everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Midnight. My name is Santino, and I'm here with Chad. What's going on, man?
Yo,
And today, we're still continuing love, but with a bit of mystical, magical fantasy. So we're doing horns and the classic, well, soon-to-be classic, Japanese anime romance story, Your Name. So both in these movies are completely polar opposite, but they do have one thing in common: fantasy. So let's get into it. So Chad, what do you think of horns, man?
Horns is beyond underrated. For anyone who has not seen it, you need to watch this movie. Because I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, because I think didn't this come out around the same time as what was that Tusk or something like that? That Kevin Smith movie where the dude turned into a walrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was like, what is this? Just another one of that stupid type of film? So I just avoided it. And then you suggested it to me, I think a couple months after we did the Harry Potter marathon.
No, I remember
Because
exactly.
I was like,
I remember exactly when I suggested it to you. It was when we were doing the Where They Now Harry Potter cast. Oh, Diane Radcliffe made this movie called Horns, and since you like horror, this is the perfect movie for you. I said that.
it's like a horror love story, which is it's as weird as it sounds. It's like everyone knows I really love horror, but it's like I also can enjoy a good romance film when it's done right. And it's like I'm sure I'm gonna get some shit for this one. It's like I really love Jennifer's Body, and that's kind of like a romance horror type thing.
Yeah,
And it's
Horns is basically a better Jennifer's Body because
oh, they're completely different. One's a succubus, and the other is turning into the devil.
Yeah, maybe but it's more of the thing with what makes Horns interesting to me is it's basically a horror detective love story where the guy has to figure out who really killed his girlfriend, played by Daniel Radcliffe. And Daniel Radcliffe here really shows that, in my opinion, he really shows here that he's not in the box of, oh, I will only be known as Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
You know, say he's not just Harry Potter here.
Yeah, it's in the same vein of Ewan McGregor as not just Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he has that. Remember, he played I forgot what's his name, Renton from Trainspotting. So he can do stuff like that. It's complete, and I love it. I love when actors can do complete polar opposites. I think the best example I have is Leonardo DiCaprio. You always see him as the pretty boy, the golden boy, the Hollywood's pure-hearted soul, and then he fucking does a slave trade owner from Django Unchained, and you come see this completely different side of DiCaprio, which you've never seen before. It's something like that with Diana Radcliffe.
You know, speaking of Leo, not to go too far off track. Speaking of Leo, I actually just watched Titanic the other night for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. I actually really enjoyed Leo in that film. I mean, show me another movie where the entire second half is an action film, and it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the boat is sinking, and I think we should do it Titanic at some point. The boat is sinking.
Oh, we should.
So,
Oh, you know what? I think you got an idea. We should do History Month at some month. Hint, hint.
oh yeah, I'm down to do that. 300, Gladiator, Pearl Harbor, Titanic. We have 4 movies right there.
Ooh.
Schindler's List. Schindler's List.
Even though we just said the other night, neither of us ever want to watch that again,
I'm down
we
to
should. We should.
Yeah, let's table that. Let's table that for March or something. I'm down for March.
I'm down.
April. All right.
Whatever.
So
Back to horns.
Back to Orange. I think what really makes this movie work is the fact that it's basically he's becoming a devil, right? But he's using his powers to in this shitty town to find the killer. And I love the powers the killer. I think my favorite one is when he makes people do what he says, in the sense how about you guys beat the shit out of each other, and the winner gets an exclusive interview with me, and they start beating each other. I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what a guy with devil powers would do in that situation.
And it was, you know what? I've actually seen some people, and I always hate this. I mean, I might have said it before, but I'll just say it now. I despise people who are like, after they watch a movie, like not midway through watching it the first time, which even then, I'll question that nowadays with,
Yeah.
synopsises already being out. I hate people who, when after a movie comes out and they've already watched it, they go, yeah, I called it midway through. I knew who the actual murderer was. It's like, no,
No,
you
you
didn't.
didn't.
90% of the time, these people are so full of shit and they just want to like look cool by being like, yup, it was obvious. I called it. It's like, no, you didn't. You had no clue. Because if you're that full of yourself that you claim you can call it, why didn't you just turn the movie off and be like, yeah, haven't watched it, but here's my prediction?
Also,
Or it's like those people who always say shit where they're just like, "Oh, the trailer told the whole movie. I don't even need to watch it anymore." It's like, all right, don't spend your money on it then. If you know how it goes, don't go see it.
yeah, exactly.
But no,
So
I mean, I thought it was a good twist. I mean, who it actually was,
yeah,
and it was kind of jacked up.
I think we can. I think we can spoil. I mean, like, this is a movie that's been out like what for like.
Go, yeah.
Yeah, like, did you expect the murderer to be his best friend, like the guy who's always supporting him?
Heck no. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting his brother.
Yeah, same actually.
I kind of
Or
was.
or or,
Like, I knew
or
she didn't.
druggy,
Like, I knew she didn't kill herself, but I was like, I could see it being the brother.
or his
Or
drug
I was
friend.
like, it could have been him. I was like, it might have been him, and he's turning into a devil because he's being punished for it.
Yeah, exactly. Or I actually suspected his druggy friend. You know, the guy who was like, the guy who was like always like shooting up heroin, the blonde guy. I forgot his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think okay, he might have just like, killed her in a drug pill price. Like, what I didn't really expect was why they broke up, like the real reason. Like, cause like apparently, like, we get the final flashback to like, the reveal, like, oh, she didn't want to break up with him because she hated him, but she broke up with him they because she was dying and she didn't want the pain of letting Ig Marin Marin didn't want Ig to feel that pain of losing someone. That's why she broke up. That was like,
Yeah, but that kind of goes in line with what I said when we reviewed The Wind Rises. Like, no. Like, remember that when she like left and like she like died on the train or something? It's like,
yeah,
no, because he cared about you. Of course he'd want to be there holding your hand in your last minutes. He could a guy can more. I mean, okay, maybe I'm just speaking for like experience, but it's like if I had someone who I genuinely like really cared about and she broke up with me and wouldn't give me a reason and it like tore me up, it would like for the rest of my life I'd wonder what I did wrong or all that bullshit. But it's like if you're with her when she's dying, at least you can say goodbye. You can both be at peace together and he can be able to say goodbye to her. Yes, he's going to grieve, but he can move on knowing she died with us loving each other and like, she could give permission like, I know you love me, but you have to move on. And then he peacefully can move on. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I understand where she's coming from. That doesn't mean I agree. You know what I mean? I don't agree with it. I just understand where she's coming
Oh yeah. I mean, it also just comes down to like experience or situations you've been in or just different views of love. I don't know.
from. Yeah. And this movie,
I don't know. I just feel like that would just mess a guy up for life almost. I mean, especially as long as they've been together.
yeah, yeah, and also honestly, I feel that this movie has one of the best kills I've ever seen in cinema. When the snake
Which
was
one?
shoved down the guy's throat, I was like, that is brutal and genius and amazing.
And it looked awesome.
It looked awesome too. And the final fight was really creative. Where like when they're like he turns into like a full-on devil, and he really like
That was awesome.
yeah, he really like, goes all out. And I love the fact that okay, even if it's cheesy as hell, this being a romance movie, also of all things, I absolutely love the ending where they do get their happy ending, even if it's in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. It was sad that they both had to die, especially the fact that like she didn't die like she thought she was going to. She got murdered in the woods, terrified.
Right.
But man, I'm not gonna lie, that breakup scene in the diner, oof, that's rough to watch.
Yeah, I really hated that scene. It's like I haven't had a girlfriend, but I don't know what it's like to have a hard conversation like that. So
Like when he's just sitting there and he's like, tell me. And she's like, what difference does it make? And he's like, so it'll make it easier for me to hate you. It's like, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like going through a breakup like that, where you care about them and they're just like, no, I'm done with you. Because it's like, yeah, you still care about them, but you're like, yes, I want to hate you now.
yeah.
Oh, and then that last line, the cook is like, sir, you and your wife need to leave. She's not my wife. She's just some girl I used to fuck. It's like, wow. Damn, she broke his heart.
That was a dick move.
What she did or what he said?
What she said. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, you're upset, but you don't have to be a fucking like asshole about it. Like, make it worse.
Man, I'm gonna tell you from experience. When you go through your first heartbreak, you will say and do things you genuinely did not think you were capable of saying and doing.
Oh, man. Really?
I'm being dead serious, dude. A heartbreak hurts a lot, and you will. It depends how much you cared about the person, how they do the breakup. Because like that, they were perfectly happy, and just out of the blue, well, I don't want to be with you. We need to see other people. You're not what I want. It's like everything about it. Here's a good comparison. Imagine if at age 10, your mom just walked into your room and handed you a suitcase, and she's like, "I don't want to be your mom anymore. Pack up your shit and get out of my house, kid."
Oh.
Imagine how that would fuck you up.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this one other than it's underrated, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
It is underrated. It is underrated, bro. And I feel like even the poster is like funny as fuck. Cause like it's you know how every poster is like has a tab like Avengers Assemble or like somebody required. This one's Love Hurts Like Hell. Like yep, there we go.
It's true.
It's true. So, is that all we have for horns? You don't want to say anything else? You're good. Like,
I mean, we kind of covered like the big scenes. I mean, I thought it was really cool how like when he got her cross, it kind of like cured him to begin with. Like I thought that was kind of inventive.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I think more of like what makes horns so appealing is the fact that what makes horns so appealing for me is that we all have our own like way to. We all want to say and do things that we normally wouldn't want to do because society won't allow us. You know what I mean? Like we all have
what?
We all have our own devil inside us. Like we always want to say things like oh, you're such an asshole, or make a scene. And this movie like really shows us that. This movie really shows us that, to me at least, that you can have that. I'm trying to put it into words the best way I can. That carnal desire to just like say things you want to say without really saying it, or making people do like that scene with the reporter, like having people, just fuck off and just beat each other up. You know what I mean? Like, haven't we all wanted to do that? Haven't these people like pissed you off? Like there are people like piss you off so much that you just want them to like just like mess each other up or something. Because I've had that. Like, but we can't really say it because it would seem rude or something, you know. So yeah, I think that's why Horns is appealing to me because it's like aside from it being a love story, it's also really a story of revenge. You
It's a
know,
murder mystery.
yeah,
It's a murder mystery romantic horror film.
yeah. It somehow blends everything together with great acting and direction to boot.
And it does a great job.
Yeah, and I don't understand why this was so panned because like people really need to see more of this stuff.
I agree. That's what I said. If you haven't seen it, seek it out.
Yeah, I agree. Also, let's seek it out. You should seek it out. Sorry, not let's seek it out. What the hell is that, man?
I don't know. I was wondering. I was like, what are you saying?
Yeah, sorry. It's early morning for me. All right.
Not an excuse, man. Have your coffee and wake up.
All right. So now we're gonna move on to the complete polar opposite of Horns. One's a dark, moody, gritty murder mystery with love and sex. The other is a very amazing story about two souls connecting across space and time, trying to find love and the literal definition of walking in someone else's shoes. So, Chad, what do you think of Your Name?
I mean, it was okay.
That's not what I said. That's not what you told me when you saw it.
No, we actually watched it at the same time. We streamed it online, and because for anyone new listening, Santino and I are separated by like the Pacific Ocean. So we were watching it we just like watched it online, and no, this was amazing. I forget. You said this was like the highest grossing film in Japan that year,
Of
or it was nominated for
2015.
Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said for that year.
Yeah. And guess what? You know what really pissed me off royally?
Hmm.
Is because they showed this movie in the Philippines. I remember there being a poster of Seeing Your Name. And I saw Star Wars Rogue One instead. I mean, like, it's not bad. It's
Not a bad trade-off. At
not a
least
bad.
you didn't see like Last Jedi
Yeah,
instead.
but like,
Like at least you didn't see like Last Jedi or Fallen Kingdom or something.
yeah, but imagine seeing this in the theater. Oh, when that comet lands, I should have taken a chance on it. But I wasn't
Ah,
in at
that
that
was
time. So
5 years ago.
yeah,
Can't beat yourself up over that.
yeah, I know, but like, damn it, like it's kind of like one of those regrets. 'Cause I remember seeing it in like the theater, and I remember saying it like looks interesting, but I'm not into anime. And then I watched it like I think last year, and I was like, holy shit, I should have seen this in the theater.
Yeah,
Uh,
this was. You might not like this hot take I'm about to have.
all right.
Aside from, I think The Wind Rises, I like this better than all the Studio Ghibli movies I watched that we
Okay,
did last year.
you told me that. Yeah, that's fine because your name's masterpiece. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfect film. There's
Yeah,
no, there's nothing wrong with it. We're just gonna suck this movie off.
do
So,
it.
so your name basically, okay, for anyone who doesn't know,
Which
is
I'm sure there's a lot of people.
yeah, is the classic body switch story. Like movies like Freaky Friday, which I think is really awesome. I actually love Freaky Friday.
I
I
do
find it
too.
hilarious. Yeah, I find it hilarious. But okay, so anyway, movies like Freaky Friday are, where where two people switch bodies and they learn how to appreciate, each other's lives and stuff like that. This takes it to a whole nother level. This takes it to like the god tier. You know how like Edge of Tomorrow brought the restart the day to like a whole nother level. This really took the body switch concept and brought it to a whole nother level also. Because Your Name here is a story of two girls, two girls. Sorry, two people, Taki and Mitsuha. Taki lives in Tokyo. Mitsuha lives in the countryside in Itomori, and they're switching. They're switching each other places because of some mystical connection from Mitsuha's family. It's implied that. Okay, hold on. I'll pause this. I'll pause this. All right. Sorry. So emergency. So your name basically is about two people, Taki and Mitsuha, who live in the opposite ends of Japan. Taki lives in Tokyo, Mitsuha lives in Itomori, which it's not a real place apparently. I checked. It's a fictional place.
Really?
Yeah. There's no place called Itomori. Of course, Tokyo exists, but not Itomori. So, so basically, what happens in this story is there's a comet coming, which we'll get to that later. But right now, Taki and Mitsu are switching places, and throughout the first act, basically, they learn how to appreciate each other's lives. And what do you think of that, Chad? Like, what do you think of that first hour? We're basically just seeing how Mitsuha lives and how Taki lives. What do you think of that?
Well, it's funny because that first hour, I was kind of like, it's like watching that first hour, I'm like, Jesus, I was like, this movie feels like it's moving really fast. I was like, is this movie only like 45 minutes? Because I was like, this is usually like everything they were doing where like they realized, oh, I'm in someone else's body. I was like, that's usually something that would happen in like, like the second act of the film. And I was like, okay, they're doing it all in the first act of the movie. And then it was like when they stopped switching bodies, like that's when the second act started. So I was like, wow, this is like doing the body swap thing, but like doing it like completely differently. So I was like, massive props to that. But yeah, I really like the first half were like that, leaving each other messages in the cell phone, writing on their arms to leave messages for each other. I was like, that's actually a genius way to do it. Because like, how else do you communicate with whoever's body you're actually in?
Right, exactly. And I love the fact that Mitsuha wrote like diary entries for Taki to see. And it's very comedic too because the very first switch that Mitsuha has when she's in
The
Taki.
movie starts with a teenage girl grabbing her boobs. I remember when we first started watching it, I was like literally as soon as that happened, I was like, what the fuck kind of movie do you have me watching, Santino?
No, but like
I was like, what the hell is this? Well, I mean, now it makes sense. Obviously, a teenage boy, like, oh my god, grab the boobs.
but but also when Mitsuha switches to Taki and she's like, oh, I have to pee. I have to use the bathroom. I was like, yeah, that's hilarious because that is exactly how I would react if I was a girl and switched in a guy's body. I'm like, oh, I have to use the bathroom.
What do I do?
Yeah, I'll compare it to that movie Jumanji. When the girl became Jack Black, she's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. I should be IG storing this. Like, no, I'm sorry, that's not a legit reaction. The legit reaction would be this one where she's freaked out about it.
A legit reaction would be, did you ever see The Hot Chick?
No, but I've heard I've heard
Okay, there's like a 5-minute joke where the girl's in the guy's body, they're like at a bar and she has to learn how to pee in like one of those giant stand-up urinals. And the guy who works in the bathroom is like telling her, he's like telling him, he's like, hold it. He's like, aim for that cigarette butt over there. If you shake it more than twice, you're playing with it. Yeah, it would be like that. It would be awkward and weird and like, this is what guys do.
Yeah, it's no, but like yeah, it's these kinds of reactions which make body switches movies really fun to watch because you're basically living another person's life, and I love how the fact that the first 45 minutes is really Taki and Mitsuha trying to adjust, and like Mitsuha takes the initiative to ask the girl at the restaurant for Taki's like like hand in dating. I don't know how to say it. Like Mitsuha,
Ask her out on a date.
yeah, ask her out on a date. Exactly. So and then Taki's like, stop messing with my life. And then Mitsuha's like, I'm trying to make it better for you, idiot.
Right, like this girl likes you. Go out with her.
Yeah, and then I also love Taki's like um initiative when he's in her body because Taki's like I I you are so meek, you're so meek, you're so quiet, you're so demure. You have to take initiative and stand up for yourself. That's when she like kicked the painting. I was like, oh shit, like like or when Taki was in her body playing basketball. I found it hilarious. So then we get
Yeah,
to
and it's like we
okay,
said,
like,
that's just the first third. Like I said, that's
first third,
in a normal movie, that's like one of those like middle parts of the movie.
yeah,
But
exactly.
then just they suddenly stop. And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. And
what the hell?
here we have, and when I watched this the first time, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they did this. But it's genius because I didn't even think of it happening. So remember how I mentioned that there was a to all the viewers listening. Remember how I mentioned that there was a comet coming into play? Yeah, it happens right now. So basically, halfway through the movie does a complete 180 by having Taki and Mitsuha stop switching, and Taki investigates what happened, and that comet hit Itomori, and that town has been the people on the entire town, Mitsuha, her friends, her dad, her sister, they all got wiped off the face of the earth, and they all died 3 years ago. So Taki was living the life of a ghost. So what did you feel when you went in this movie? You went into this movie blind. What did you think when you saw that middle of the movie twist?
I was like, damn. I was like, I was like, how? I mean, because I was wondering, I'm like, how the hell do you even undo something like that? Like, it was 3 years ago. She's gone.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
it's like, then they dive into the mystical stuff that her grandma was like alluding to at the beginning of the movie. And then it like, just like genuinely flips everything on its side. And it's like, boom, like a huge time travel moment where he goes back and is like trying to save everyone.
Yeah, that was awesome when he time traveled back one last time to
And when he talked to the grandma and she like knew it
yeah,
was
like
him.
I love that scene. Like the grandma basic imply, like, yeah, this has been happening for like generations in our family. Like we've all had dreams where we're all living in someone's body, and I think it's all been ready, all been for this to save this town. I think it's been for this. So, so basically, Taki sets up the plan, but it's Mitsuha. I love the duality of it. Taki sets up the plan, but it's Mitsuha who executes it. It's Mitsuha finally not being any more meek and demure, but actually taking the assertive level to stand up to her dad and being like, "No, you have to listen to me." I love that. I love that because she can't. She has to be the one to do it. Which and I feel like if it was Taki who did it, and like okay, that doesn't really make it special. But the fact that Mitsuha did it, the fact that it was because she
And it was
stood up for her father, amazing.
a huge race against time too. Like she was like
Yeah,
crying because she's like, I'm not gonna make it.
yeah, and then that meeting in the mountain where Taki gives her that one last push, that final encouragement to like, you can do this, you can.
I love that scene when they met up on the mountain where she was like, fuck you. You grabbed my boobs every morning when you were me. I was like, yes, this is exactly how teenagers would react to each other who like both have a thing, but they don't want, but like she doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. And then it like, he saves her, they changed history, but then they still didn't find each other for how many years?
Five, dude.
5 years, and they still didn't even know who each. They knew they were looking for someone, but they didn't know who. Like
Exactly.
I thought that was so interesting. I was like, okay, I was like, I like that because I was like, it's not like, oh, we've got to find each other. That I mean,
Yeah,
not to sound weird, but it's like that would make it too easy. But it's like these two people whose like destinies are like intertwined because of the time travel stuff. Like they're connected somehow, but they shouldn't know how, if that makes sense.
exactly. And I love the fact that okay, so basically before we even talk about the end, I want to talk about the very climax where she's standing up to her father, and then Taki watches the comet, and that song, man, like that song that plays as the comet lands. and you're like, oh my god, are they gonna make it? And everyone's just looking and wonder, and like, oh, you can see the entire world watching the comet land, and then boom, and then 5 years go by, and now, and I love the fact that you don't really. I love the fact that the movie still, winds up the tension a little bit longer by like having them say like, oh, we don't like, what happened? Did they survive? They survived, and then they go like it's found out. They reveal it through a news report like, oh hey, all the members survived, and you get like the implication that there's a bunch of close calls, like Taki's eating in a restaurant and she sees Mitsua's friends all grown up, and like he feels like they've known, like he knows them, and then he walks by her on the snow. And by the way, the cinematography in this film is amazing. Like it looks beautiful. Like every shot can be like a painting. I swear.
Agreed.
And then finally, at the very end, to me, this is the perfect Goldilocks zone ending. It would have been cheesy to be like, oh, I missed you. Let's get married. Let's be together. But that would have been like really cheesy. And it would have been really depressing if they just like walked by and didn't acknowledge. But it was the perfect Goldilocks ending. They see each other on the steps. Mitsua's coming down, Taki's coming up. They meet halfway. They cross each other, and as they're about to not acknowledge each other, they both have the initiative to say, "Hey, don't I know you from somewhere? I thought so too. What's your name?" And then it ends. Perfect.
And that's the movie.
Perfect. I have no other way to end it properly. Like, it would have been super cheesy if they did like, oh, yeah, you're Taki, you're Mitsuha. And then they do like a montage of like, oh, they got married and all that. But like, that would be like, okay, that's kind of cheesy. But the fact that it ended on an open ending of being like, what happens now? And it ends there, perfect. I don't need a sequel. You can end it right there. And been perfect.
Well, hopefully we're not going to get a sequel, because what do you do with it?
Yeah, you can't do anything anymore. Like what? A second comet comes?
Yeah, they just redo the whole thing again.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it won't work. And all these films of the director Makoto Shinkai will do like, I'll find another time where you can do something about it, because I really want you to see his other films, because they're all romance stories, but they all involve the supernatural. There's always a supernatural element in play. So I think you'll really appreciate it and love it.
Yeah, we basically just covered this plot, and like we said, there's no issues with it. So if you haven't watched it, I don't know why you listen to us instead of just watching it instead.
Yeah.
So I urge you to go watch it, because it looks amazing. The story's great. It's just an all-around
it's an all-around good movie, and you have to see this movie. You have to see it.
Just good? Wow, I thought you liked it more than just a good movie.
Perfect. It's perfect.
No, it genuinely took me by surprise how good this actually was. Anybody who likes romance, anybody who likes mystical fantasy, anyone who just likes beautiful artwork, this is the movie for you.
For you, yeah. And it's a perfect Valentine's Day movie. Like, I'd say this and Deadpool are like the perfect Valentine's Day. Yeah, no, legit. Deadpool is an amazing Valentine's Day movie. We just had Valentine's Day, like, right? So
yeah, sure it was.
Yeah, Deadpool. Come on, you can't tell me that Deadpool is not amazing.
My Bloody Valentine is a better Valentine's Day movie than Deadpool.
Okay.
No, right. Deadpool's an amazing film.
But Deadpool's an amazing film. All right, so I guess that's it for your name. Anything you want to say, Chad?
Nope, I said it all.
All right, so to end the month of love, we're gonna be talking a very unique trilogy about two people meeting across time. So for the final weekend of Love Month, we're talking the Before trilogy. So I'm Santino signing off.
I'm Chad. Good night.